Hi guys, this is Erica from Gokce Capital. Now before I begin, be sure to click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Imagine this. One day, a stranger shows up and says they own your house. This is exactly what happened to Maria Waring. We'll learn more at the end of this video. But first, if you own or are purchasing property, you should understand what a wild deed is. And in today's video, we have the top things you should know. Number 1, what is a wild deed? A wild deed is a deed that was not recorded. This means that it is not indexed or connected to a chain of title. Number 2, what happens if you find a wild deed on your property? Well, it depends on the state, but under the recording acts of most states, wild deeds offer no notice to subsequent good faith purchasers. We'll go over what that means in a second, but the good news is that a wild deed will often not impact your ownership. Number 3, what are the recording acts? The recording acts are state statutes that establish the keeping of official county land ownership records. The acts also settle conflicts of ownership in real property by prioritizing ownership documents. In a race state, the document first recorded will win. In a notice state, a later buyer who pays fair value for the property and doesn't have notice that there were any other earlier conflicting interests will win. And finally, in a race notice state, a later buyer who doesn't have notice of any other earlier conflicting interests and records first will win and have priority over later recordings. The point here again is that a wild deed does not serve as notice. So that means in many states, a deed recorded after a wild deed will take precedence over that unrecorded deed. Number 4, why are wild deeds a problem? Well, we just covered why they may not be an issue, but they do become a problem if you buy a property and don't have your deed recorded. When your deed isn't recorded, it can make it difficult for you to later sell your property, get a mortgage, or even assert your ownership to the land or home. And number 5, can a title search find a wild deed? A wild deed isn't in the chain of title, which means it cannot usually be found by a title search. It's important to note that this also means title insurance will likely not protect you against wild deeds. But now that we've covered the basics of wild deeds, let's return to the case of Maria Waring. In 1858, Maria's brother-in-law had purchased a property and had then invited Maria and her husband to live with him. At some point in the next 3 years, Maria claimed that her brother-in-law had signed a deed transferring title to her, but the deed was never recorded. As it turns out, the brother-in-law was not paying the home's property taxes, and so, in the 3rd year of Maria's occupancy, it was put up for auction at a county tax sale. A woman by the name of Rose Lincoln bought the property, and when Rose showed up to claim possession, Maria sued her, claiming that Maria's unrecorded deed took precedence over Rose's sheriff's deed. So what happened? Well, the decision in this case has been lost to history, but similar situations happen today, and we can guess at what the outcome would be if it happened in modern times. Each state is a bit different, so it's important to work with a local attorney. But let's say Maria lived in New Jersey. In this case, a claim to a property arising from an unrecorded deed would not affect a claim that stems from a recorded deed unless the buyer was served notice. So all of this is to say, Maria would be out of luck. And this is why it is so important to ensure your deed is properly recorded. Hiding a deed may seem like an easy way to avoid taxes or probate, but it also means you may have issues selling a property or even retaining ownership. But what do you think? Do you have any stories about wild deeds? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? You're going to love our Gokce Land Due Diligence program. We'll make you a land due diligence expert in just 7 days. Check it out at gokcecapital.com/glad. And while you're at our website, don't forget to explore our $1 down listings at gokcecapital.com/listings. Finally, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email, call, or text, and we will respond as soon as possible. So thank you for listening, and more to come.